Hello and welcome back to Green Week. And this topic is about sustainability challenges within the medical industry. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
device industry, but
Exactly. Oh, thank you so much. I knew I would somehow not do it correctly. It's been a long week, and we look really much forward to having this talk with you, especially because you represent one company. And seeing from your perspective is we just have talked about about technology, seen from a startup point of view, and so on. And we often forget the role that companies are playing in developing new solutions, technology solutions,
Yes.
because you do, right? So let's talk about that, and I would let you introduce yourself. I'm sure you do a better job than I do. There you go, Nassera.
thank you, Human, and thank you for having us over here. So myself and Charlotte, we are here representing Coloplast, which is a medical device company, and I'm heading up the sustainability team at Coloplast, and here to really, as you said, talk about the challenges, but also what are we doing as a medtech company to overcome those challenges. Would you like our background as well? Well, I've been at
Yes,
Coloplast
I would like
now.
to know what your title is, what you do, if you start with that.
Well, title, I'm the Senior Director of Sustainability at Coloplast. Been there for about 8 or 9 months now. So as part of the new strategy which we launched around the same time as I started, so that's what I've been working with. It's really to lead that agenda. It's to drive the ambitions that we have, and together with everyone at Coloplast, really focus on how can we solve those challenges. So that's my...
Fantastic, Nassera.
Yeah, so I continue. So I'm Charlotte. I'm heading up the materials department in innovation in Coloplast. So we are actually the department responsible for selecting the materials for the medical devices. And maybe I should clarify, it's primarily what we call plastic, but we refer to it as polymers when we talk as experts.
What do you call it?
Polymers.
Polymers.
Not plastics.
Not plastic.
Not plastics,
Okay. Ooh.
yes.
Yeah,
that's
we
gonna
refer to it as
all right.
polymers. That's kind of the technical name for it. But we are the ones responsible for selecting and developing the materials for the new products that will go on the market. But of course, when we introduce sustainability and it becomes a big topic for the company, then we also need to look at the legacy products, our current products, and make certain improvements on the current products that we have on the market. So that will be my team responsible for that.
How big is your team?
It's 30 people. So
30 people.
it's 30
So
people.
30 people in your company are only working about the on the material?
Yes.
Yes.
What we
But
not
that's
call
a-
plastic. All right.
You can call them plastic.
All right.
But,
Okay.
but
Awesome.
you know, it's also it's the core, you could say, of our products. That is the materials, because it is the material products that are important for our products to work.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Coloplast is a well-known brand and one of the traditional companies that we are very proud of in Denmark. You know, there are Novo Nordisk, there are Christian Hansen, Novozymes, Mask. Those ones that every Dane know them, right? So, please explain a little bit about why you're working on these challenges as a company.
So if I can just start, so Coloplast is, we're producing products to support users that have intimate healthcare needs. So products in the ostomy, in the, wound and skincare division, in the continence care region, you could say. And we've been, we're a very old company. We've been working with this for quite some time. And as Charlotte said, we've been working with polymers. So that's the core of it. But at the end, when we started to look into sustainability, because it's really a core part of the way the company functions, it's part of our mission, it's part of our purpose. So it's really, when we started talking to our users and our customers, what is it that you really want? And then they wanted, they know they have these issues. They can't change that part, but they want to contribute to sustainability. So they kept asking us, what can you provide us? Can you provide us more recyclable products? Can you provide us more sustainable products, if I put that in quotation marks? these different things, they receive so much packaging. So can you do something about the packaging? That's what their issues were. And then, of course, sustainability is increasing. There's a lot of topics. I mean, we're here at Green Impact Week, so there's a lot about that. So it was very much also coming in from the payers that we sell our products to. So, our model is through reimbursement schemes. So, like, say, for a country like Denmark, we pay to the payers here that are actually buying the products, and they have restrictions, and they put some requirements on how these products should be made. And that's where the journey actually started. Of course, not to mention also the other stakeholders. We have investors. We're a listed company, so they also want to know, are we producing these products in a sustainable way? So, much more with lower emissions, a lower carbon footprint.
Yeah.
So that's where I would say the thinking started. And as I said, we launched our strategy about 8 to 9 months ago. It's called Strive 25, Sustainable Growth Leadership. So sustainability is a key element of our strategy. And one of the main priority areas is about improving our products and packaging. And this is where I would say, Charlotte, you come in, where we have so many products, and you can just add a little more on that part too.
Yeah, I also just want to say that, of course, we still need to use polymers or plastic in our products. That's very important to say, that we cannot change the material, because the materials, they have unique properties, and we need that in our products. So there are not many alternatives out there when you talk about if you could move to more sustainable choices. We are still very limited. Of course, that's also where my team comes in. We need to work on that, not only us, but also work together with others on making sure that we have alternatives available going forward, of course. But you can say not only is plast in our name, but it's also in Coloplast, but it's also really important for our products and the functionality. And that's also important for the users, besides sustainability and the part about reusing the materials, you could say. It's also the fact that they should, of course, function, the products, in the end.
Yeah.
So we cannot really compromise on the quality of our products.
We during the first day, opening day of Green Impact Week, we had Arla as one of the speakers, and they were actually pointing at the same challenge, that they need the still need for they can't change the packaging completely, because there's need for those. There's a reason why they use the material they use, right? But that they're looking for solutions in many ways. So the challenge, the journey that you are on it is not only you, and which brings me to, that there's, you talked about it before, it is also about partnership and how do we work and collaborate with it. I'm sure we're going to get back to it.
Yes, I actually would like to just continue to what Charlotte was saying. So we cannot compromise on the quality of our products. That is also what Ala was also mentioning. I have to mention, a few days back, we have intermittent catheters, and we were learning how to put it on. How would a user put it on? And it was not that easy. It was quite difficult. And if a user has had health issues, then it might be, if they have shaky hands or something like that, it can be very difficult. So it was, that's the one thing, the ease of use for our users, we will not compromise on that part. But then how do we, what do we do then? So our targets are actually about changing the packaging and also finding, you could say, renewable materials and making our packaging more recyclable. And this is to make it easier for our users. And the only way we can do it is, as you said, in partnerships, but also in your team to increase the competency level and find the solutions. Yeah.
And of course, partnerships could be many things. It could be working with the suppliers of raw materials, because, of course, all suppliers, they also have a big interest in this, you could say, because, as you said, Arla and other companies, all companies, they want this at the moment. So, partnerships could be many things, both suppliers, but it could, of course, also be applied research. It could be innovation foundation projects, many different types of projects.
And how do you work in partnership right now? Do you have any examples of it?
Yeah, so we applied for one recently with DTI. I think we can mention that one. At least we.
DTI, for those who don't know what it is.
Technological Institute in Denmark.
Danish Technology Institute.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we recently applied for one regarding chemical recycling. And of course, there are many other partners in this, but that we cannot really reveal at this moment because it's not been approved. But that could be one way to look at chemical recycling of materials, because one of the issues right now is that you can use mechanical recycling, so you can kind of tear the materials apart and try to, if you have mixed materials, then you can also try to separate the mixed materials. But it's not always easy, because you can have films where there's a glue between the different layers in the films, and if it's different materials, then you cannot separate it with the process like mechanical recycling. So we are really dependent on new technologies like chemical recycling, where you can kind of get back to the building blocks of the materials and then create new materials from that.
That's the project that you're going to do with the Danish Technology Institute.
Yeah, so that's one example.
All right.
Another example, actually, which we've been successful with is, so we're doing it twofold. One is, of course, Charlotte, your team that's looking at the specific materials. And then also the other part is looking at our own production waste, because that's also one way of learning how can we recycle this production waste and thereby try to focus towards, a circular loop for plastics. And majority of our production takes place in Hungary. So we, over there, were very successful in finding, you could call it a waste management handling company or a supplier, where we could use our mixed polymers, so our mixed waste stream, and then combine it with rubber products, and then create, you could say, flooring for school children or, playgrounds, sports fields, and so on.
Yeah.
So that's something so it's still a mechanical recycling, but it's still a successful, you could say, a technology that we have been able to find this supplier and this partner. And it is a partnership over there as well. That also meant that we actually achieved our waste recycling target, but now we will work on, upgrading the target and finding something new. So that's another part. I mean, we're also, as part of the DTI partnership, we're also going to look at our production waste that is happening in our production facilities as well.
Can we talk about some numbers? Because it's kind of the medical industry. I mean, just the past year and a half with all of this thing going on, I don't want to even say the name, but we use masks and we throw them away, and the healthcare and medical industries is kind of, the use of plastic has been really kind of, I can guess, I don't even have numbers for it. So this is a major problem, right? This is not just an issue about, 2 plastic cups we are talking about. So what are the numbers? What are we looking at?
I can speak for the targets, and then I'll leave it to Charlotte to talk about what are we doing in innovation. We've actually set targets for ourselves that for all the packaging that we provide to our users. And in packaging, there's always different definitions. What we are imagining as packaging is like, let's say, the cardboard boxes, which we would call tertiary packaging. But for us, there is also some kind of primary packaging that actually keeps the shelf life of the product valid for a long time. So our targets are including the primary packaging. So we're redesigning products. And one of the targets we have is to convert our packaging, including primary, to 90% recyclable packaging, which means when it reaches the user, they have the opportunity to recycle it. And now, as I said, we met our waste recycling target. It was 50% of production waste recycled. We are at 58% right now, but that we will have to re-evaluate what should we do, how should we do it, and we'll do it through.
And how much do you produce?
Oh, I'm not sure I have the exact numbers for that, but quite a bit.
Yeah.
But then again, we're talking about users that have, multiple sclerosis or have some health issues. So then I think this is a definite need for them. And we have really been, and this is where I would think Charlotte can speak a lot, we've really been working with how to innovate much more efficient and optimized products. We've embedded the eco-design principles. We've been working with, you could say, sustainable design in our products. And
yeah, so you can say one thing, of course, is the material choice, where I just told you that we are quite limited. So, but other things that we could maybe look at before that could be, so how do we design the devices? Could we use less materials? That's an obvious one. Could we design it in a way where we would not mix materials like I just described? Then it's easier to at least reuse, you can say, the unused products, because we have, of course, a challenge with the product in itself, and that's also why us and I guess many others start to look at least within the medical device industry, we start to look at the packaging, because when we talk about the product in itself, it's you need to handle it as biological waste when the product has been used. So that's why you can say we can reuse some components of the product, but not all components of the product.
Right.
But of course, this about the design of the product and how we design it in a smarter way, so it's actually possible to recycle at least some components. That's key.
Well, this journey is symbolizing what we kind of talk about a lot, about the transition that companies, corporates are going through, from thinking linear business to circular, where you basically are thinking through everything from what material you use and how it's going to be, about the waste as well. And I think is the learning path in this, in working like this, is that how can we share that? Because you're not the only one going through this, but you are taking the steps as pioneers to do this.
Yeah.
And I guess there are a lot of other organizations or companies who would love to
Yes,
take that journey.
I think I want to mention three things. One is, as part of our materials choices that we want to make, we've also set a target for having renewable materials. And what is renewable, I will actually let Charlotte explain, because this is being a big debate. Everybody has been talking about biodegradable, but it's not straightforward when you say biodegradable from a medical device perspective. And I think that's worth clarifying at this podium. And then the other two things that we're doing is, of course, Charlotte, you can advertise that you're looking for people to increase competencies in the materials section, and then partnerships. And I'll talk a little more about the partnership part.
Yeah, so if I just briefly explain about the materials on this that Nassera was referring to about biodegradable. So you can say biodegradable, that's been kind of a hot topic for some years. But actually there are some challenges about the biodegradable when we also look at recycling, because the biodegradable materials, of course, they will degrade, but they don't necessarily degrade. It depends on kind of the environment that you put the material in, whether it will degrade or how it will degrade. But it's not a good material for recycling, even though it doesn't degrade totally, because it is challenging to recycle a material that maybe degrades partly. So I mean, right now it's not really a trend that we see, and I think a lot of other companies, they are also moving away from biodegradable materials because of the challenges, and because of, like you say, the circular economy thinking. I mean, if you want to recycle materials and you want to go for reuse, then biodegradable is simply not the way to go. Right. And you can say also in our products, of course, the user is also dependent on the properties, so they don't want the properties to be poor, because we put a material that somehow partly degraded. It's the quality of the product that needs to be there, right? Yeah. So you can't make compromise on the quality of the product. No. And then when it comes to bio-based, then we are still, of course, limited to the kind of sources that you can use for bio-based materials. So that would limit us to a few type of materials, but we need to be able to use different type of materials to reach the properties that we want. I mean, in a product, you want something that is, sometimes you want a component that is flexible, sometimes you want a component that's more tough. And by this, you need to be able to select different materials. You cannot just go for one material for the entire product. What is the profile and the background of people on your team working with material? Physicians? They could be. I would say a lot of them are chemists or chemical engineering, from chemical engineering, and then specialized, as I said, in polymers, which you refer to as plastics. But fantastic. This is what Charlotte is also saying. When we're looking at biodegradable, we're actually putting it back into the earth, in a way, if that's what I can put it in layman terms.
in a way, then that's not circular, at least not in a short-term perspective.
Yeah.
So it's not, I mean, you're losing the material per se. So by using bio-based or a recycled material, then you're keeping the circular motion alive. You know, you can maybe get it back in the, whether in our products or not, but at least in some other products as well. And if I could say, Charlotte is looking for the right kind of profiles in her team, but also as part of the strategy, we have committed to invest around 250 million Danish kroner, which means we are looking to hire around 40 resources over the next 5 years. We've already started to hire these resources, but it's across the company. So it's not like, don't get me, it's in the sustainability team. That's just not the way we're working. It is all the different ambitions that we have with our products, also with our production, because we are looking into converting to renewable energy sources for our production, so really going carbon neutral in our production. So that's where we are hiring different types of resources, some in Denmark, some in Hungary, some across. So that's one way of sort of supporting this. And on the partnership side, I think the DTI partnership that you mentioned, that's quite a good one because there are many partners in it. It is really looking at plastic, you know, elevating plastic recycling technologies so that we can go more towards the circular side, but doing it with not just Coloplast, but many other partners. And we're looking at Innovations Fund for providing the right, you know, funding for this kind of research because it's needed. Coloplast can do as much within our own company, but we have to then work with, you could say, waste management systems. We have to work with what political scenario is there in Denmark or other markets. So it's a combined one, and then the results of this partnership will be open for everyone. So it is not going to be like, oh, we get the results, we fix our products, and then that's it. We will share this knowledge with the world. So that's one way. The other one is we have established a sustainable supplier program in the company. So this is really our way of assessing our suppliers. But it also means, I mean, I think some of our suppliers are really big, much bigger than Coloplast. So it's also one way of saying we want to have the right dialogue with you so we can actually make some right partnerships. Every time we want to change a product, we will invite some of our suppliers to come and innovate together with us to find these alternatives. So that's kind of our thinking. And you know, Coloplast is a very Danish company based out of science, and we really want to, whatever knowledge we get, we will share. It's not that we will keep it to ourselves.
No.
Yeah.
And well, Sustainary is all about the green impact community and startups and small businesses. How can they collaborate with you? How can we make sure that they know that you need help in these and these directions, or you're interested in collaboration with them? Are you working with any small businesses and startups in that sense?
So the example I gave in Hungary is actually with a smaller, you know, a startup waste handling company. I don't know whether it's at a startup level. It's probably a little bit bigger, but it is something that started on their own. So in a way, I think we're looking for that. So once we have, what we're doing internally is we're looking at specific products we want to change. We have set those targets internally. Okay, we have these 5 different types of products. So on that basis, we will invite startups as well to come and innovate. And I know you and I have talked about potentially maybe having like an innovation camp together. And that is also one space we invite everybody. They can reach out to us. We are, you know, they can through our website or just, you know, contacts through you. And we're happy to have those kind of, and if a startup company is successful in supporting, I mean, we will really love to support the startup company as well, you know, elevate and share that knowledge. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we will take you on that and work. We have plans, so we're gonna work on.
I would say when it comes to the materials, then we would then be dependent on someone actually producing the materials, because we don't produce the materials ourselves. So so when it comes to the materials, of course, we are also interested in startup companies, but we also need to have someone involved who can actually produce the materials, because I mean.
So the good combination is a startup that can produce the material.
Yeah, because we produce the products, but not the materials, you could say.
All right.
So we need also, a producer of a certain material.
Fantastic. Are there any last wishes that we could bring to the community?
I think follow our journey and support us because we could use everyone's support. It's not easy. When I'm thinking about our users, it's not easy to be in a place that they are in, having intimate healthcare needs and sharing their problems and issues with us. But at the same time, when they want to make things more sustainable, when they want to be a sustainable user, I think that's a very a great thing to look up to. So we should all try and support them as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we have been following you since you started at Coloplast, to be honest with you. And we are pretty amazed by the journey that you're taking. We look forward to following your journey and supporting it in any ways that we can. And to tell the story, because the most important thing is if people are not aware of your path and your challenges and the way they can collaborate with you and interact with you, then it's difficult for them to find you. So we work on it. It's been a huge pleasure having you with us. Thank you for taking your time and come and share your journey with us. And we are at your service. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.